Peace and abundance always. Welcome. My name is Peter Abundant, aka Dr. Abundant, PhD and ordained minister of metaphysical sciences, which is the study of going deeper beyond the physical, beyond the literal, and getting the true essence, the true meaning of things in order to help you to understand that you are the creator of your reality, and thus you should be creating the reality that you want. So I provide you with the tools, the insight to help you to actually get that done. Now, today we're going to conclude on our journey into numbers and really getting into the deeper meaning of seeing numbers, using numbers, but also angel numbers when we see numbers in a series of sequences, whether it be 99 or 88 or 77. So today we're going to go into a number that some people don't even consider to be a number. That is the number 0. Now, 0, I had to make sure that I spoke about because it is a profound number. And on a spiritual level, it represents so much. It has so much significance, so much meaning. It can really be the number of spirituality when you really get down to it. So with the number 0, many people will debate whether or not it is something or it represents nothing. And if nothing is something, I tend to lean on that side where even nothingness is something. That's why we acknowledge it. That's why we use it. Okay. Now we're going to get deeper into that on a spiritual level and recognizing how it applies to you on your journey in a particular moment, especially the moment where you see the angel numbers with zeros. So let's get into 0, the power of the number 0 in numerology. 0 is the number of infinity. You may have heard that before when we discovered and we went into the number 8. But 0 has more significance to that. It represents wholeness, it represents divine potential, and also the cycle of life. Now, with 0, the reason why it represents infinity, even when you look at it, it looks like a circle. It is a circle, or it can be a oval, depending on how depending on what font you're looking at, right? But ultimately, it represents all possibilities and nothingness at the same time. Now, how do we understand this spiritually? When we think about 0 and when we think about nothingness, what we're really talking about is potential. You see, when your consciousness has a desire to create something, that desire in itself, or having a desire, is a true representation of what 0 is, right? It is desire itself is nothing, but the desire itself is the actual catalyst, the thing that is going to fuel you to actually do something. Without the desire, then nothing happens. So 0 represents that desire. It represents that potentiality. It represents the catalyst to all things, the cause to any effect. Without desire, nothing happens. But with desire, though nothing has still happened yet, with that desire, it is the beginning. Okay. It is the potential of having whatever it is you desire. But without the desire, then there isn't even a thing to be had, if that makes sense. So when we look at 0 being a representation of possibilities and nothingness at the same time, we're looking at this essence of teetering on intangible and tangible, right? The spiritual and the physical. We're talking about this space, this balance of recognizing that you are everything, being the creator of all, right? You are the God of your reality, but also recognizing that there is a grander creator that had created you. looking at it from even a religious standpoint, recognizing that, you are a human being, you are a spiritual being living in a human body, and you can have some great significance in the world. But at the same time, you look to something greater, right? You look to God as something greater than yourself. Now, when we get into metaphysics and spirituality, we understand that there is truly a oneness between those two things. Many times we separate those things. Even Jesus himself said, I and God are one, but the Father is greater, right? I and the Father are one, but the Father is greater than I am. So that is a good way to word the fact that you are one with the Creator, but the Creator is still greater than you. Okay. That gets into really understanding how to bring a good interpretation as to possibilities and nothingness at the same time, right? So the number 0 is the number of pure consciousness. It is the number of awareness, right? Existence. When you meditate and you practice understanding that you are not the thoughts that you're having, you're not the emotions you're having, you're not the feelings in your body that are kind of distracting you from being present, that you are not those things. Those are just experiences of the body, experiences of the mind. Then you start to create this understanding that the consciousness, the part of you that is observing those thoughts, those emotions, those feelings, that sensation in your body, the part of you that is observing it is your consciousness. That is the pure essence of who you are. That is what we're talking about when we say 0, right? Because before there is number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, all the way up to number 9, there is first 0. Number 1 and all the other numbers are just, they're built upon the foundation of 0, right? Something exists because of nothing. So when you understand the significance of this, then you start to really add a different texture or meaning to everything that you're experiencing, right? When you start to really recognize that nothing is something, then it becomes something that you see as like, wow, wait a minute, right? I remember having this conversation with my son where he saw something on some kind of show and he asked me, he's like, so is nothing something? And I was like, yeah, because if there was nothingness, if nothingness didn't exist, then all it would be is solid mass, a pure existence of density, right? So we need nothingness in order to individualize and identify things. So it's important to have nothing. Nothing is probably more important than things, because without the nothing, right, we cannot have things. I hope that makes sense. So essentially, 0 is the source of all creation. It is infinite potential. All right. It is that space you're going to when you are consistently practicing meditation. Right. You are tapping into that potential. You're tapping into that pure consciousness. You're tapping into that ability to create. Right. That is your consciousness. That is who you truly are. Okay. So it's about recognizing that it represents the eternal nature of the universe, the oneness, right? Even though we're talking about 0, we're talking about oneness. And the best way I can think about this and explain it to you is, the 0, the circle, okay, also represented in Taoist, right? The Tao is a picture of a circle that represents all that is capsulated within that circle, right? So though it is a 0, it looks like a 0, it is actually a circle that encapsulates all things. That's why we call it a representation of oneness. All right. It is also an expression of the journey of spiritual enlightenment. Okay, that is another thing. So, breaking down further into the core meanings of zero, we mentioned is infinite potential. Okay, it is a reminder that you are limitless, all right, and capable of creating anything. From that comes everything else. Okay, keep that in mind. Before there is one, there is zero. All right. When I talked about getting into things like the Bible and breaking down the creations of the earth, God said, let there be light. That light came from something else, right? Because God said. So God existed. Consciousness existed before anything else. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about your consciousness. All right. Divine connection. All right. Is a call to align with the source, with God, with grand consciousness, with universal energy, with your truest essence. All right. Another meaning, new beginnings and wholeness. So a lot of times when we think about zero, we think about being depleted, going back down to nothing, right? If you think of it in terms of a bank account, your bank account can be at hundreds, thousands. Things happen, you're depleted back to zero. Sometimes we look at that as a bad thing. When it comes to money, all the time we look at that as a bad thing, right? But really, that's just a new beginning. Okay, I've made thousands before. Okay, I can make thousands again. That's all. Let's see if I can do it even faster than before. You make it a game, right? It's a new beginning. It's a new adventure. It's a new experience. Wholeness. When you look at the circle, when you look at zero, you look at it as a pie. All right. It is whole. It is complete. You look at it as a circle. It is whole. It is complete. All right. So it's a sign that you're either, at a space where you have a new start, or there's a new spiritual cycle that you are about to adventure into. Okay. Eternity, timelessness. That's very important because when we talk about spirituality, we often talk about time being an illusion. Well, the zero represents that. It goes deeper into that, right? It is a sign, it is a symbol of that. Now, when we talk about timelessness, time is a representation of moments happening, right? Moment to moment, this is what's happening. Where when we are on the spiritual journey, there is only the moment. Whereas time, we're keeping track, we're chronicalizing the moments, and we're even thinking about moments that hasn't happened yet, called the future. But on a spiritual journey, we recognize that the time, the moment that happened no longer exists. It means nothing. And the time that could happen in the future hasn't, so it doesn't exist, so it means nothing. Timelessness is in the moment. When you are in the moment, you do understand the feeling of eternity. You understand the feeling of satisfaction, happiness, fulfillment, because you are living in this moment. You are existing in the very moment. So there is a sense of foreverness, right? In that moment when you are really, because you forget everything else, right? There is nothing else but this moment. And so that is an example of eternity, you know, like you don't hold on. You don't worry about the future. You don't hold on to the past. You only are here in this moment right now. So it's a message that you are connected with something greater than the physical world. Because even when you are captivated by something, an experience, a person, a conversation, all of everything goes away. All of the what you consider to be real, whether it be your body, whether it be the world, this reality, it ceases to exist because you are here, right? You are present. Your consciousness, your awareness is focused in on this exchange, this experience. All right. amplifies energy. Now, zero strengthens and magnifies the vibration of any number it appears with. So we can get that in math, right? So if I take the number eight, eight means eight. Okay, we talked about what it means as far as numerology, but when we talk in terms of even basic math, eight means eight. When we add a zero to it, it means way more than eight. Okay, so when we add more zeros to it, it means way more than that. So just its very nature on a basic level, it is a amplifier. It amplifies energy. So even in terms of angel numbers, or even in terms of recognizing, seeing things and it having an eight with it, you gain a sense of moreness, of energy, of being recharged. Okay. Now let's get into the angel numbers. The divine message of spiritual awakening and limitless potential. All right. When you see zero in repeating sequences, 00, 000, 0000. All right. The universe is encouraging you to trust the infinite potential of the present moment and embrace your spiritual path. Okay. Remember, zero is about spiritual awakening. It's about infinity. It's about consciousness. So when you see this number, recognize that it's about you tapping into your limitless potential. Okay. Tapping into the understanding that you are an infinite being, that you are an expression of that which we call God, that you are an extension, you are one with. And we know God, by definition, is limitless, right? It is infinite, and you are one with that. Okay. So every time you see zero, understand that it is a message that you are deeply connected with the divine, and that you are in a great sense of alignment with the infinite possibilities of creation. So it is your time to put your intention, your focus, okay, your actions toward that which you desire to create. Okay. It is a reminder that everything is cyclical, right? In cycles. Okay. So endings, beginnings are all one and the same, right? The circle. There is no ending. There is no beginning. So it's ironic that when we think about zero, we think about nothingness. When we think in terms of money, we think in terms of having nothing or starting from nothing, right? Sometimes people even consider themselves coming from nothing, being nothing, right? When they have accumulated good amount of money, they then say, well, I came from nothing. That's impossible, right? As long as you are a being, right? As long as you have consciousness, you are aware, you are infinite. You are far from nothing. But we accumulate things and we associate material things with having something, right? Because there are things. But we think because we don't have things, then we ourselves are nothing, which in fact, no, you are everything. And you just simply project that out into a desire to materialize something and thus create things, obtain things, right? Have things, right? So when we get into understanding that this is a sick a circle, right? A thing that happens in a rotation, a pattern. It is a rhythm. It is a constant rotation of in and out, right? That does not ever stop. It is evolution. It is ascension. It is you being you, and thus, with that awareness, going into a space of gaining momentum. Okay. And that momentum, oftentimes, when we are really driven by the ego, can look like starting all over. It can look like not having anything anymore because you once had something. But you have to remember at zero, it's about connecting with your divine power. Okay. So even if you come back to zero, especially say a bank account, use that and see the number zero differently. Don't see it as you having nothing. See it as you being everything, because that is what zero represents. It represents divine power. It represents infinite possibilities of creation. It represents you being in alignment. All right. It represents you continuing. Okay. It's a continuation. It's a continuum of things. Okay. Of who you are. So look at the number zero differently. Don't look at it as being nothing. Look at it as being the potential. Look at it as being the potential of everything. As long as you put your mind toward that which you desire. Okay? Putting your thoughts, your emotions, your feelings toward that thing. Whatever it is, the zero is just simply the foundation that you're building upon to actually get that thing, create that thing. All right? You essentially are the zero. Angel numbers and its variations. So if you see a 1, it's a reminder of your connection with the divine and the unlimited possibilities before you. If you see 2 zeros, it is a powerful sign of heightened spiritual energy and guidance from the universe. If you see 3 zeros, it is confirmation that you are in sync with the source and a new beginning is unfolding. Now, if you see 4 zeros, it is a sign of deep spiritual transformation and infinite power of creation. So recognize that these signs are letting you know that you are dialed into your creative powers. All right. I know we talked about 1 being the initiator for manifestation, but 0 is the core. It is the thing before you initiate. It is consciousness itself. It is your very nature as consciousness, because your consciousness is that of divine consciousness, of the creator. Therefore, your consciousness as a spark of that is to create. It is a creator. Okay. So that your very nature is to create. So as you sit and you think about 0, think about you being that circle, you being a cell, something that has a single objective, an organism, a being with a single objective to create. So every time you see that 0, that is your reminder that that is you with the potential to create anything that you desire. That is who you are. Okay. That is who we all are. The spiritual meaning of 0. So we established, okay, the number 0 is about beginnings, right? The beginnings of all things. It is about the journey back to the source. It is the symbol of unity. All right. It represents both emptiness and totality. Very interesting. When you look at the 0, you can look at it one of 2 ways. It's almost like looking at a cup, half full or half empty, right? When you look at the 0, you can look at it as being full, or you can look at it as being empty, right? It doesn't matter the color of the paper, right? If you look at it a certain way, you can see it as being either empty or being completely full. All right. 0 also represents the Alpha and the Omega. It is the starting point of all of existence. So in sacred geometry, the circle represents wholeness, completion, and the circle of life. In biblical numerology, 0 is symbolic for God's infinite nature and the eternal nature of creation. So you see how creation is constantly repeating itself. In Taoism, 0 is similar to the concept of the Tao, right? The source of everything and nothing at the same time. I'm going to say that again. The source of everything and nothing at the same time. In quantum physics, 0 represents the void, where all possibilities exists simultaneously. Okay, the void where all possibilities exist simultaneously. You just simply have to match your frequency, your thoughts, with that which you desire, and thus it is possible. You create it, right? Right then and there. So when you see zeros, the best thing to do, and this is probably something that you should do anyway, embrace the present moment. You are in a space of limited potential, okay? So you want to just trust the unknown. We often avoid the unknown. We often think that the unknown is scary. There's danger there. That's your ego, all right? Recognize that is the false self. It has its job, but that is not the role of it to come in moments like this when you see your angel numbers, when you see zeros, okay? When you see zeros, that's a sign from your higher self to actually let go, to actually embrace the present moment, to embrace the unknown, to trust it, not avoid it, all right? When you see zeros, deepen your spiritual practice. Meditate, right? Connect with the source, right? Trust your divine guidance, all right? Don't veer off and get distracted by TV, social media, what have you. Really go deeper into your spiritual practice, okay? Release fear and resistance. This goes into, again, being mindful about the ego, managing it and putting it in its proper place, not letting it lead you, okay? But recognizing that consciousness is the thing that you wish to be led by. So when you see zeros, this is your higher self, your consciousness communicating to you, letting you know that, hey, the universe is here to remind you, all right, that you are, and all things are unfolding as it should. So just keep it going. Keep it going. Let go of the fear, let go of the resistance. It's just going to slow things down. It's going to create suffering. It's going to create more, pain, more issues. Just avoid all that altogether. All right. Finally, set clear intentions. Since 0 represents pure potential, focus on what you truly desire to create. Okay. Take a moment, set clear intentions. Now, setting clear intentions doesn't have to apply to the big desires. It can apply to the current moment. It can apply right now. What is your intention at this very moment? Okay. Your intention is to gather knowledge to help you to tap into your divine spark, to tap into your divine power and be who you know yourself to be and live up to that potentiality, right? To achieve personal fulfillment, happiness, and joy, to create the things that you desire that resonate with who you are. Set that intention. Be clear about that, okay? Every time you do anything, whether it be something small, big, mundane, be mindful. Set an intention for yourself. What is your intention right now? To ask that question. What is my intention? All right. Do not let moments simply go by you not really being clear about living a purpose-filled life, even if it is at a job. Still, set an intention, even if you don't like the job, to enjoy yourself that day, to enjoy the job that day, to enjoy the exchanges, the interactions, to make sure that you enjoy each moment as they come. Set that as your intention. All right. So here's an exercise, the 0 infinite possibilities meditation. Find a quiet space, right? Close your eyes. Visualize yourself surrounded by, say, a vast endless space of pure light. All right. This represents infinite possibilities. And affirm. Say to yourself, I am one with the universe. I trust in infinite potential within and around me. All right. Then just keep repeating that affirmation. Keep visualize yourself being surrounded by that light. Okay. And then just sit in silence for a few minutes, allowing for any insights or inspirations to just flow through you. This is a powerful exercise and a powerful thing to do on a regular basis. You know, if you have a second, if you have 10 minutes, if you have an hour to actually get into tapping into this power and recognizing that you are one with the universe. All right. If you are one with the universe, then you can trust in the universe. You see, the universe, again, is not out to get you. It is not against you. It is for you. It is for you. It is in support of you because it is one with you. It wants to win. It wants to have experiences. It wants to be fulfilled. You are one with that, so it wants that for you as well. You simply have to want it for yourself. 0 is the number of infinite potential, divine connection, and the eternal cycle of creation. All right. When you see it, know that you are in a moment of powerful spiritual alignment. Trust that you are exactly where you want to be, where you need to be, and the universe will open up to you. All right. All you have to do is just create. So get clarity as to what it is you want to create. Set your intention to do so, and the universe, right, this physical realm will eventually catch up to you and deliver it to you. So understand the significance of all these numbers and how they play a role in the universe communicating to you that you are actually where you're supposed to be. So don't fear, don't resist, don't doubt, because it's not really about you doubting yourself. Okay? When you doubt yourself, it is because you are seeing yourself as something separate from the divine, from infinite source, from the universe, from the creator. You don't doubt the creator. You don't doubt the universe. You know that it is going to do what it does. When you recognize that you are one with that, then your fear, your resistance, your doubt within yourself dissolves and goes away. Allow these numbers to be the signs to let you know you're on the right track. Okay? What to think about, what to focus on, but more importantly, to keep going. Because all of these numbers generally say the same thing in terms of your progression throughout your life is to keep going and to know that you are supported. Thank you so much. Feel free, go to drabundant.com, subscribe to my daily newsletter, get access to this free ebook, and so much more. Please continue to join me on this journey. Peace and abundance always.